So on a scale of 1 to poorly thought out ideas, here we are. Welcome back to a slightly unreasonable game of weather roulette. Currently at Waverley Beach and headed towards New Plymouth. I were intending on heading towards Taupo. I'm in the bus and didn't intend on being in the Land Rover. As the weather would have it, it's supposed to be raining and terrible almost everywhere except for around here about now. But as the weatherman has left me with trust issues, we're going on an adventure. But because I like to hedge my bets, I'm in the bus because any fall can be uncomfortable. However, that does mean that there's a couple of places that I can't go because the bus will get stuck. But that's okay. Let's hit the road and see where we end up. Righto. So after a failed attempt last time, and by failed I mean didn't even get here, but like Mangamahoe with a bike. Probably guessed that. Back in January when we did the trail half marathon here, which is running down a Dream 3, ran some of the mountain bike trails, and I've been meaning to get back here ever since because they look pretty cool. So this is that time. Might set up a time lapse and take you along for the ride. Those tracks are brilliant. Very greasy in places, lots of clay and bits of mud. They've had a heap of rain, lots of tree roots and that sort of thing, but brilliant tracks, absolutely worth coming back. Brilliant grade 2 and 3 trails, heaps of grade 3, which have some cool jumps in there if that's your thing, but they have chicken lines as well for old people like me. Trying not to completely ruin myself on the mountain bike so that I can get a run in and see where to from there. And just a bit of a spoiler alert with the running and riding. Once again, while I've learned nothing is without compromise, I'm trying to focus on two things that are coming up. Quite a significant ride and quite a significant run. So probably going to have insignificant results with both things if I indeed get to either of them, but can only try. Trying's part of the fun. Well, that's looking positive behind me, isn't it? But whatever, we'll go and get it done. Elaborating on my revelation, nothing is without compromise. It's kind of like you can't have everything, which I've previously said I want to have words with whoever made that wrong, because I don't like it. Everything is a compromise. Give me a lot greater appreciation for yin and yang, but basically at this point, focusing on my riding training is compromising my bike training. Focusing on bike training is compromising my running training. Focusing on both trainings is compromising work, and work's compromising everything else. Hey. Nothing's absolutely ruining anything. It's just shifting focus and dividing time. Time is a commodity that I find myself very short of.
say yes to things I think will be fun. And I'm easily amused. So everything looks like fun. River. That pronunciation is probably terrible, but that's how I've always heard it pronounced growing up in New Plymouth, so let's just go with it. But it seems that the track I've taken's come to a dead end, so back to the bus we go, but that's definitely going to get me my kilometres that I'm aiming for the day. Just easing into it. Be about 7k. Looks like I made it back right in the nick of time, but before it gets too bad, a bit more prepared than first trip in the bus, so pick up some of this shit everybody's left behind. Well, that's a haul from about a 7k mountain bike and a 7k run. Alright, so it is morning and the weather is turning to rubbish right on cue. So it's not really the kind of adventure that I was hoping for. I am, however, fortunate in the fact that I found somewhere to camp last night. Park last night that wasn't a people farm, which is nice. It even has a good view. The downside is the port operates all night and there's trucks carting what I think is fertiliser out of there at the moment, and so you hear them all night. That's okay. Gonna have some breakfast, try and wait out the weather and see what happens from there. I've ruled out one option already, but discovered something else. Alright, so the forecast's not as bad as they said it was going to be currently, which is kind of what I've banked on for this entire trip. So up until yesterday I didn't realise that this walkway actually existed and had no idea where it goes really. But as the name suggests, it follows the Waikato River, a very rocky river that flows from Mount Taranaki out to the coast by the Te Rereira Bridge. There's even a couple of little swimming holes along here as well. The track forks and you can go up to one of the suburbs, which from there you can link through to Tunui Walkway and Huatoki Walkway, which I've done previously. This brings you down to the river, which is pretty cool. crib with the Goodyear swing. Well, I can't get over the fact that I didn't know this walkway was here, and growing up a friend of mine lived in this house directly across. Things you don't notice when you're young, or just when you simply don't care. One of the other reasons for coming up here is back in 1990, went to primary school in this area, and this particular little strand of bush beside me, our class and a few classes came and did some, I want to say gardening, whatever you want to call it, but we're removing a lot of pest vegetation and trying to clean up the bush area. There used to be walking tracks through here, including a little stream that I see that now. I see now those walking tracks don't appear to remain, but what is very cool is that you can hear a bit of bird life in there, so that's important. Sadly, it looks like there's a lot of rubbish in there as well. And I remember it being very boggy and marshy through there, and there's a little, that's where there was a little stream, creek, and like a single board bridge over it. But I'm just going to have a wander and see if there's any other way to get into it, or where this bit of walkway comes out. One thing I haven't quite gotten my head around yet is the fact that some dump stations don't have a hose. That I could do. So I can actually go back and fill the bus up with water. First world problems. Right, so very patiently waiting and having a coffee. The rain is forecast to stop. Hopefully it does stop, and it is somewhat time critical for what I want to go and look at. Otherwise you'll have to wait who knows how long until I manage to get there at the right time and the right conditions to see what I want to go and see that I discovered exists yesterday. Finish enjoying this coffee, see where we go from there. Yes, I did see the no tankers sign before heading down, but I figured I could back out if I could see that there was nowhere to turn the bus around, and the bus is indeed shorter than a tanker because I don't have a trailer. So with absolutely nowhere to park and nowhere to turn around at the road end, I was left with one option: to turn around and reverse all the way back down the road that I just reversed out of. So on a scale of 1 to poorly thought out ideas, here we are. We got to the top of the hill up there. I couldn't actually ignore just how spectacular this road end is, with the Timaru River over here and the trees and so on. So with that, I decided that I need to come down here and have a look. This brings us out at Weld Road. It's like a 2-minute walk across the bridge and through the reserve. I did not know that, and so I'll get to that soon. But if you're in a larger vehicle, this might be a better way to go, is to come down Weld Road. Weld Road you're not allowed to camp at. It is a strictly no camping area. I'm not so sure about Timaru Road. I've not seen it said anywhere that you're not allowed to camp there. Nice and misty out back towards New Plymouth. Rugged west coast has claimed many a ship in its time, and this is one of them. Last time we were in this area, it's on this part of the coast, there's a rahui on the collection of shellfish that is still ongoing 2 years later. But it's incredible actually seeing that there is some small amounts of life in the rock pools. That's something that didn't see 2 years ago. Love to come back on a good clear day and take some more photos. Unfortunately today's not that clear day and the weather's not going to improve enough for it to warrant me hanging around, but that mist kind of adds to it, I think. Well, it looks like I'm heading back at the right time. That rain's starting to come back in again. That was definitely a case of taking the opportunity while it was there, because that rain's coming in pretty hard. No idea where to from here, but definitely out of here. The weather overnight was pretty average, and today's looking equally as bad, so it looks like that is the end of this adventure. There's no point in prolonging the inevitable. So unless something fantastically interesting happens, or I find some inspiration on the way home, I'm gonna call it. So, you know the story, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.